Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on, you foxes!
are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Good evening, Fox fans. How are we? It's come, it's gone. Won't be back till January. Yes, what am I talking about? Of course, the January transfer window. How are your thoughts on it? What are you thinking? This is Leicester Till I Die TV. You can find us on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die the group, Twitter at Leicester TID. And if you are on YouTube or if you're not on YouTube yet, please get on YouTube. I think we're about 12 or 13 subs away from the 1K, and that would help support the channel so much if we can get to the 1K. So nip on over and basically get subscribing, tweak my buttons, pull my knobs, do all that. And give me the support. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. I will always wear it. Andy Miles, hello. Good evening. I'm not too bad. I'm a bit late. We had a few technical problems, but we're here now. How the devil are you, sir? Good evening, Rich. Thanks for popping along. How you doing? And Terry, hi, Chris. This will be interesting. Well, I have a feeling it will be because we're doing a special tonight and we are going to be talking about this man. Indeed, we are. Ademola Lookman, our only deadline day signing. To me, I'm pleased. I'm very happy because he fulfills a need that we want. But it seems he's been greeted by Leicester fans with a kind of huge apathy. Let me know what your thoughts on his signing is, because we needed a winger. We've got a winger. Be interesting to see because he seems mainly on the left, and obviously we need a winger on the right. But up until that point, the summer window was doing great. I mean, we've got Daka, Sumari, Bertrand, Vestergaard. Great signings. Vestergaard finally got injured within a week. He was in and signed. But Lookman, you seem to have kind of just, kind of meh. Well, we're going to find out in a second exactly whether he's all that or not. As I say, this is Leicester Till I Die TV.
The Premier League is back, and we've got it all covered here on Leicester Till I Die TV. Subscribe.
And we're going to welcome in Emilo, who is a Fulham fan and knows all about Ademola Lookman. Good evening, Emilo. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me back on. Yeah, it was
joined your show a couple of times last season when we were in the Premier League, and I remember doing the. I think it was the shows before the lead up to the game. I can't remember if it was before or after the games, but it was good to be on the show again, and good to talk about my thoughts of Ademola Lookman, because he obviously played for us on loan last season. Came with very high expectations. Certainly from my part, I was very excited, like yourself, when he joined 12 months ago, and I thought he would offer a lot of potential, but it turned out to be a sort of a mixed season for him. To be honest, obviously we'll talk about it more during the show, but good to be back. Thanks for having me back on.
No, thanks for coming back on and doing this. And let people know where they can find you. We're going to put the links in the description afterwards, but just give a shout out to your social media contacts.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can find me on Cottage Talk. So Emilo Di Nello. I'm Teddy Nello on Twitter, but you can also follow at Cottage Talk, where I work with Russ Goldman, who's running the Cottage Talk podcast for 10 years. We've actually got a 10-year anniversary show tonight. So I've got another show in about an hour and 20 minutes. So we've got a number of our current and past co-hosts joining for a little bit of a celebratory session. So if you guys want to take a listen in about an hour and 20 minutes, feel free to dial in and just listen on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter.
Brilliant. We will try and do that. And 10 years of it, that makes you feel old, doesn't it? I am old, so I can get away with saying that. Just a couple of questions here. David, hello back to you. Hoping that Lookman isn't another case of fitting a slightly square in a round hole, considering Lookman isn't exactly a right winger. Andy Miles says, a very good player in my opinion, just don't let him take pens. Terry Fuller, I was apathetic over Mahrez. Well, this is it. We all are. And I've been to Napoli. Watch about the city, you are, be warned. Of course, you are also a big Napoli fan as well, so you'll be coming back on for a chat just before we play you.
Absolutely, yep. Avid Napoli fan as well. So I'm looking forward to the two games against yourself this in the next month or so. We've got the first game 2 weeks time, and then a return fixture later in the season. But that'll be an exciting game, and it's obviously one of our Fulham players has also gone on loan to Napoli, so that'll be good. It's slightly impartial from my perspective.
There's a lot of big names in the Europa League this season, and we will talk obviously about Napoli. But it's great that you want to play these teams, don't you? I mean, I don't know whether Napoli, as a Napoli fan, you think, "Oh God, it's only Leicester. I wish we'd got Arsenal or Tottenham or one of those sort of bigger teams." But certainly for us as Leicester fans, we look at Napoli and think, "Wow,
Yeah, and I think what's consistent with both teams, I think we both blew Champions League qualification. Napoli, had the reasonably easy game at home in the final game. They blew it. They only managed to draw that final game rather than winning it, and the ball was in their court, and they screwed it up basically. And I think you guys were pretty much in pole position to get that Champions League place, and similarly again. So I think both teams will be disappointed to only finish, fifth in their respective divisions, and they should both be in the Champions League. So it should have been a Champion League home and away fixture, not a Europa League. But nonetheless, it's a cup game. But I'm not sure how serious Napoli will give it. To be honest, I think I think there'll be other priorities. They want to get back into the Champions League like you guys do, and I think that will be their focus.
Oh, so we've got that coming up in a couple of weeks, and we will speak to you then. Facebook user, not sure. I haven't put your name on here, but you're starting to annoy me, he says, or she, maybe a she, shouldn't presume, about Lookman. Exactly what has he done for everyone to think it isn't that good? Tell me what Maddison has done this season. Look at Perez, what has he brought to the team? The most laziest player, sluggish. No, obviously, Facebook user, not a Perez fan, but then, and you're a he. hello, Mr. Facebook user. Okay, I mean, this is the thing I'm surprised because we've been crying out for a few seasons to get a striker in because Vardy's getting on a little bit now, etc. We finally get one. Everybody gets excited. We've struggled with the winger. And you say, well, we've got a winger in, and before he's even kicked a ball, people are sort of going, well, he's not what we need, blah blah blah. But I mean, when you look at Lookman, as they say, he's 23, so he's not old. He's a winger. He's played and scored in the Europa League. in his time, 156 clubs appearances, 25 club goals. So, he's no sort of slouch, is he? He's been around for somebody that young, but that's not always a bad thing.
No, if I turn the clock back 12 months ago when he signed for Fulham, I was very excited. I, had a lot of potential as an under-17, under-19 international for England. Again, maybe Everton was maybe a little bit too early in his career. I think obviously he didn't do particularly well. They went to Germany, and I thought he did a reasonably good job there. So coming back to Fulham, we obviously had high aspirations, getting promoted back into the Premier League. We bought a lot. We signed a lot of loan players, and he was one of them. I actually thought, this guy has got a lot of talent. He's pacey, and I think that was very clear. And I was very excited. And to be honest, the first 2 or 3 months of the season last year, he's probably him and one of our other players were probably the most consistent player last season. Up till around November, December time, he was getting in the mix. It was difficult to play against. His pace was upsetting defenses, but there was always, you could have done more. To be honest, I think obviously the penalty that he fluffed at West Ham again, he learned from that. He wasn't mature. He got a bit of a pat on the back from Scott Parker. Scott Parker managed to motivate him, and he managed to sort of put that behind him and carried on as normal. But then I think some of the defenses started to find him out. He's very predictable, shall we say? He's left foot, he's left winger. He likes cutting into the right, and I think defenses started to find him out. And to be honest, there was rumours that he had COVID around Christmas time. We had a bit of an epidemic of COVID people at the club. He was rumoured to be one of them, and he was never really the same player in the second half of the season. And I think we missed that pace, trickery. The fact that he likes getting in the box. He scored a few goals, but I think end product wasn't quite enough for me. And I had this debate: had we stayed in the Premier League, would we have signed him? I wasn't too sure. Based on the whole season as a whole, I think he should have done more. He didn't assist enough, didn't score enough goals. His final ball should have been better. Admittedly, you've got better players than we had, so maybe he will thrive in a formation where you play the more attacking football than he was able to at Fulham. Because obviously at Fulham we weren't attacking in numbers, and maybe that was he was somewhat hindered there. But overall, if I look at his performances of the season, it just wasn't consistent enough. So I was quite disappointed end product overall. Albeit I was very optimistic. I was optimistic like you were when we first signed him on loan a year ago.
You made a very good point there. Because I always find it's difficult for, I think, any fan to judge a player and a manager over the last season and a bit, because it hasn't been normal by any stretch of the imagination. And excuse me, how a manager or a player might have performed under normal circumstances could be well different to how they did. But we were the same with Maddison. He was injured, and he's come back, and he hasn't been the same player at all. And sometimes it can take them a long time, especially if they with this, all this COVID shit going on, etc. It can, I think, it can take players a lot longer, if you like, to get back to the form they had before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he suffered from that. He had a couple knocks during the season, but I think COVID knocked him out for 6. To be honest, that obviously was rumored that he had COVID. I suspect he did, and he never became the same player. To be honest, I think that's partly because defenses found him out, and he just didn't have the same velocity. He didn't have the same appetite. He didn't seem to be enough in the games. He wasn't influencing the team enough, and you want some of that trickery, that quality to be able to upset defenses more. Unlock those defenses. But where I saw his final ball at times let him down. I think that's where he's got to be. He's got to get stronger. And B, he's got to be able to get that final ball in the right place. Sometimes his decision making was a little bit predictable and naive. So yes, it seems to be around for a number of years, but I'm surprised he signed for you. Put it that way. I think he's a nice person. I respect the guy, but I'm surprised he was the only transfer window signing that you've gone for. I think if you needed a winger, surely there were other more suitable options for yourself. I think probably he's gone with. Your manager's gone with someone who's pacey, can play up front with your attacking midfield and strikers, and maybe he'll complement your team better than he did at Fulham, where we had limited attacking options last season.
I mean, like you said, he's been around. He started at Charlton Athletic, 45 appearances, 10 goals. Everton, 36 with 1. I mean, he obviously is not a striker, so, goals are a bonus. Leipzig on loan, 11 and 5, and then obviously signed for Leipzig. Fulham, 34 games for you overall and 4. So, but he is only 23.
Yeah.
He's what we would call a typical Brendan Rodgers signing, because it's still young. So, and players are playing on a little bit longer these days. So yeah, you can look at some players like say a Maddison or a Rooney or and say, well, these players are good enough at a younger age. But 23, I think he's still young to enough to sort of have someone, because Brendan's good with the youngsters. And that's the thing. And I think the problem with Leicester fans, I think a lot of the problem with the Leicester fans is that we've come to expect so much now because of where we've been with this, with the players we've signed. I mean, Daka, Sumari. I hadn't heard of Sumari before we signed him, but everybody says what a brilliant signing it is. But I think the players we were linked with, like Berardi, it's having the money. And the big clubs have been able to have the money this season to say that everybody was sort of struggling, but we seem to have spent a lot of money. And we had to find 15 million for Vestergaard because Fofana got injured. So that died out. We have only got him on loan. And it's exactly what we did with Under. We had him on loan. I had high hopes for Under, but he was sort of more over and out than Under. And because they had him on loan, we were able to let him go back. He's also an England international as well, isn't he? I mean, he's played not obviously at the senior level yet, but he's under 19s, under 20s, and under 21. He's been scoring and appearing for all those ages. I think he's got, for me, the potential, and that's I think what you got to look at.
And I think it's obviously a more talented squad than we've got, to be honest. So that we had last season. So I think you've got Brendan Rodgers, who likes to play an attacking style of football, so it definitely will suit Leicester City style of football more so than Scott Parker's passive defensive style of football. If we had Lookman now and we were in the Premier League with the current manager, I think maybe he would have thrived and probably be better suited with the squad that we've got. But it was my apprehension is literally he can be predictable. He's certainly cutting in always in on the right. He needs to score more goals. He gets in good positions. His finishing product isn't good enough at times. Yes, he scored 4 goals, but the amount of chances he had and maybe the quality that he has, he probably should have scored more goals last season. Yeah. And we definitely needed players of his quality to have contributed more in terms of physical goals and assists, where we didn't see enough of that last season. But no doubt he's got talent. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Got a good manager to coach him and nurture him. But I'm still surprised that he signed for you. I think you guys are aspiring to remain a top 5 team season on season. I think it's maybe showing a lack of ambition, maybe from your owners. That's the best you could have got. No disrespect to Lookman, but he's flattered to deceive in most clubs that he's joined. He hasn't. Everton came with a lot of promise, a lot of talent, and clearly wasn't good enough to pay for Everton. Leipzig, again, they're continually looking to loan him out because he's clearly not. He's not good enough to play week in, week out at that level. So there's a reason why these players keep going on loan season on season, and they need to find the right fit, the right club, the right manager.
I mean, there is a bit of a sort of maybe desperation about the signing, but sometimes, we had Damari Gray. He couldn't, play. He came with sort of, great sort of hope that he was going to be a good player. He showed signs, didn't do it for us. We let him go to Germany. He's come back. He's playing out of his skin for Everton. Sometimes it's just the different manager. Exactly. Facebook user, it was actually 30 million we paid for Perez, so it makes the comment even worse. But this is a good question from Scott here. Hi, Chris. Great show as always. Thank you very much, Scott. Question for the Fulham supporter. Did Lookman play on both wings while playing for them? Because on the left, we've got Harvey Barnes. And Harvey Barnes does tend to sort of cut in. And I think Brendan likes the sort of players that can cut in. The problem that we've got is on the right wing, where we had Mahrez, Gazelle hasn't done it, Under didn't do it. We've got Albrighton, but he's signing a new contract, but he's getting on. I keep thinking, this is a player for the right wing. He's left-footed, like you say. Whether that's that's going to be able to put in. Did he ever play on the right wing for you?
Yeah, and often we were alternating wingers. So again, where things weren't working out, he's sort of rotating between left and right. So we were seeing him occasionally on the right-hand side. So it's he has the ability to play there. I think the key thing for me is it's always that final ball, which was his finishing product, and is also that final ball. He needs to show a little bit more maturity. He didn't often look up often enough. So again, it's all about the trickery, predictability. But sometimes you have to have that good final ball, look up and look for that acute pass, which sometimes was lacking from him. But no, don't doubt it. Like I said, I'm very excited when he signed. He started very promisingly. No fans got in his back. When he missed that penalty against West Ham at the London Stadium, everyone was sympathetic. A young lad, he'll learn from that. That I'm not sure what happened to him that night.
Yeah,
what went in his head, but I respected his maturity after that miss, and he sort of didn't let that affect his game. But whether it was injury, whether it was the confidence within the squad, whether it was COVID or combination of all, it just wasn't the same player since probably January time earlier this year.
Yes,
and we missed him. If we had him playing more consistently, there would have been maybe more of a chance for us to have stayed in the division. But but I still don't think he did enough for me over the whole season. That's my concern.
Yeah. Good evening, Melina. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you are feeling a bit better and on the up. Facebook user says, can I bring both of you in 4 weeks' time and we can bring this all back up, then we can go through everything you said, as I believe it would be fantastic. I do as well. For Leicester, just because, look, I say, Damari Gray is the exact case in point. Absolutely non-plus for us. He's gone to Everton, and they're singing his praises. It happens, unfortunately, and because it doesn't work with one club, it can work. And Emilio here is giving us his honest opinion of how he performed for Fulham, and it doesn't mean that he will play that way for us. We've got to remember, we are still Leicester. We can't go out and spend £100 million on Grealish or £94 million, excuse me, on Lukaku. Our owners are in the travel business, which has been hit, more than they've not got sort of an oil field in the back garden. They have to rely on the travel business, which has been hit. We still spent 55 odd million pounds. They've supported the club. Daka, Samari, and I know Bertrand was a free signing, but Vestergaard wasn't a planned sign, but we needed that one, and they could have said, no, we're not going to, we want a winger, but they didn't. They found the money to buy him. So maybe that did, ruin our chances a little bit about who we might go. But Berardi would have cost a lot more. We were being linked with Chelsea and ODI, I can't remember. My mind's gone blank. But these players wouldn't necessarily have wanted to come to Leicester. We've got to remember, as good as we are, and a lot of players do want to come to us, we can't afford a lot of these players. Jesse Lingard would have been fantastic loan. Why didn't I don't know. Jesse, he did well for Fulham. Man United have said they wanted to keep hold of him, I think. I think if he was available, sorry, not for Fulham, for West Ham, sorry. Sorry about that. That's an insult, isn't it? So again, why haven't West Ham tied him up? And he's got a reputation that he can be good, but once he's tied down somewhere and he's got what he wants, he tends to disappear a little bit. Chelsea perspective, good evening. David, I agree with you, Tara. I watched a lot of Fulham games, and I thought too that it was not great at all with goal product. Lots of speed and dexterity, but certainly not much when it comes to scoring. But the thing is, we've got players that can score. We've got Jamie Vardy. He's finding the goal again. Inacho, top scorer last season. Daka brought in for his goals. Then you've got the likes of Barnes, Tillemans. We've got goals in the team. What we didn't have was the equivalent of a Barnes on the right-hand side, I say, that can cut in and set the goals up. It's the assists as much as anything. Yeah. This might be somebody here. It's the potential that will kill you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Hi, Russ. See you in an hour's time on the 10th anniversary show. Looking forward to that. But
Good.
yeah, it was that potential. I think that's a good point there, because he promised a lot, and like I said, up till first 3 months of the season, he was probably arguably our best player at the club at the time. But it just tailed off, and it's that expectations when you when the chips are down, the team is struggling. You need sort of your hidden talents to be able to show up week in, week out, and it was just it's just a bit inconsistent at times, and I think he got found out certainly in the second half of the season by other defenses, and he wasn't able to get past those defenses, and I think he had the potential to take on the back line and consistently try to pass too early. Sometimes get the ball, either find the right pass, take players on, stop being predictable. But it was a bit one-dimensional at times, and like I said, he kept rotating from left to right, right to left, but sometimes it was ineffective, and that's why we didn't score enough goal. We didn't create enough opportunities, and that's not necessarily his fault, because that's the way we were set up. But clearly,
this is the thing as well.
I think for you guys, he will fit into your team a lot better, because I think you've got more attacking quality, you attack in numbers, and maybe you will see him create more assists. So to the Facebook fan there who asked us to come back in a month's time, maybe he will be a better signing for you, because your setup is probably more suitable than what we had last season.
We again going to quote Jamie Vardy. He played absolutely brilliantly for us. Without Roy Hodgson never played him in the right position for England, so didn't play well. It is all about fitting into the system. But look, Emilio, I appreciate you've got another show to get ready for. It's a big one, 10-year anniversary. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being honest.
Thank you.
At Teddy Nello, isn't it, on Facebook? Oh, sorry, on Twitter, and Cottage Talk as well.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me back on, and enjoy the rest of the show. Good luck. See you in a couple of weeks.
See you in a couple of weeks for the Napoli preview, and good luck with the show tonight.
Take care. Take care, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Emilio. Enjoy it. Thank you for popping on. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks so much to Emilio there. And like you say, he's giving us the thoughts of how that player played for Fulham. Terry, you're quite right. I mean, we got under in. And as anybody that remembers from last year, right at the start of the season, he played a couple of times for us. I'm saying, get under in. He put that one great pass in for, the goal for Jeremy Vardy. No, his brother, Jamie Vardy. And I was like, we should get him. Let's get him playing. Why isn't Under playing? What's wrong with Under? Brendan obviously didn't see something in him, and he was on loan. And this is it. We've got Lookman on loan. And yes, I know. And somebody please tell me the Chelsea player we were linked with. Hudson-Odoi, that was it. But we're linked with these players, but we've got to be honest. We are not yet, or we never will probably be in the same bracket as they've been able to go and spend £100 million on a Grealish or £94 million on a Lukaku. We had to find the 50 million. So maybe that did affect it. And I would have liked to, have got Coutinho in, but it wasn't going to happen because financially, we can all want these players. Whether we get them or not, obviously, is another matter. But we've got to think about why we're not getting them. Terry Fuller, a bit worried about Lookman. He was the only European player that Arsenal didn't like to go there. I think in fairness, he's probably too good for Arsenal at the moment. Andrew Metas, I still would have preferred Lingard. I would have taken Lingard on loan. I wouldn't have bought him because I think he has this thing that once he's signed somewhere and once he's tied down, he does kind of switch off. While he's actually playing for a contract, he's good. But on his form for West Ham, he was there. I mean, Terry said it was a while ago, Terry, but he was awful when he played for us. Chris, I strongly believe Lookman is going to be played on the left of midfield. It's being played, and in that, I'd love to see Barnes giving a crack on the right. Thoughts? What are everybody else's thoughts? I mean, the gap we have is on the right. Barnes obviously is right-footed, plays on the left. Brendan seems to like say wingers that can cut in and come in, and Lookman does give us that option. And as Emilio said there, he has played on both sides as well. And again, we like players that will can play in different positions. David Scott, that might be interesting, except I would like Leicester to try and play guys where they do the best, as opposed to trying to play them out in different positions. That would be my concern. What we gain by putting Lookman on the left, do we lose more by moving Barnes over to the right? And that is that old Ndidi into defence to cover scenario. Do we lose more of not having him midfield? All I'll say is, guys, we've signed him. You know, we've been screaming for a winger to come in. You know, we've had Gazelle, who was more like a hippopotamus than a gazelle. Didn't work out. Kaputska didn't work out. We've had, Under last season didn't work out. But, you know, we've been stuck with players. We've been stuck with the likes of Gazelle because we went out and bought them, and we then couldn't get rid of them when they found out they were shit. We've got this guy on loan. I mean, like I say, I have to own up and say, I loved him at the start, as I've just said. Why isn't Brendan playing him? You know, there's all those rumours. You know, is it part of it who plays so many? We have to sign him. Obviously, it was nothing like that. He just wasn't good enough. But I've got to admit, towards the end, I had to say, I didn't want to keep him as much as I did at the start. But when we've seen him for the season, and Lookman does give us that, we have got that option that if he isn't good enough, we can let him go. It's as simple as that. Somebody said earlier, Jamie Vardy, £1 million from the conference. That's a gamble, isn't it? Any signing is a gamble. You know, I can't say I particularly knew anything about Lookman. I know he played, you know, against... he gave us a bit of a rough game, didn't he, though, when Fulham beat us at the start of the last season. So, you know, it has got it in his locker, but did I know anything more about Patson Daka? But we're all getting excited about him. You know, you could argue that, you know, yes, he's good because he scores in the French league, you know, in the Austrian league. Yeah, but he's not going to necessarily score in the English league. You know, look at Benkovic, and I will quote Benkovic for you. Brendan Rodgers took Benkovic on loan for a season. He was that impressed, he took him on loan for the next season. He won the treble in Scotland with Celtic. That manager then comes down to Benkovic's own home club, Leicester, never picks him, sends him out on loan. What does that tell you? You know, players that are good in one league might not be good in another. So as good as he was in Scotland, Brendan doesn't think he's good enough for England, and vice versa. You know, Slimani, you know, excellent in Portugal, not so good in England. The argument is, of course, that we didn't play to Slimani's strengths. But then did Fulham play to Lookman's strengths? Will we play to Lookman's strengths? And ask yourself, do you want Perez on the wing, or do you want a proper winger on the wing? And whatever we say about Lookman, yes, okay, he might not be able to score goals, but we don't need him to score goals. If he contributes with 4 or 5 goals in a season, that would be more than enough. I will be more than happy with that, simply because that's not his job. His job is to provide the ball so that other players can score. Terry says, we attacked quickly. Fulham didn't have the players here. As Emilio said, Lookman is going to be a hit. I honestly, I mean, I hope he will be. Terry's saying here, got to go get my pillows ready for when I fall asleep watching England. What channel's it on? Do you know what channel England's on? I need to fall asleep, so I might join you there, Terry. Or not join you in your bed, if you know what I mean. That would be a bit, you know. I like you. I do like you, Terry, but, you know, not in that way. Let's give the lad a chance. You know, I say, let's not be apathetic about it. You know, we get rid of, we pick on players. Leicester seem to have a player that we always pick on. You know, Chilwell. Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much, sir. ITV. And I would say Andy Chilwell we've virtually almost hounded him out of the club. And when he says what he says, you can't really blame him. We treated him awful. There's a lot of awful things said about him. Perez, and I'm not Perez's biggest fan, as you know, either. But he's got to be given a chance. We wanted a winger. We have got a winger. He's not got a lot wrong yet, has he, Brendan? When you look at the players we signed after we won the Champions League, let's be careful, because we went out and bought all these fantastic players, or aren't they good, top players? How many of them are still here? Ibora, Silva, as good as they were, they're not here. Slimani, Musa. So let's give them a chance. It's a slow process. We are working within a budget. We get it right more often than we get it wrong. Even the great Sir Alex Ferguson made some bad signings. David James, I would have loved David James. 25 million. Maybe I didn't love him that much. Leeds loved him. It was quite funny. The Leeds fans were calling David James. They were absolutely calling him and giving him grief. Now they absolutely love him because they've just gone out and signed him. We're a fickle lot, us fans, aren't we? Good evening, DJ Nick. How the devil are you, sir? Faith in the recruitment. Clearly, budget was an issue and limited our options, but interesting to see what he can bring to Leicester. This is it. If he's good enough, he'll get in. If he's not good enough, like Under, he won't. But agree 100%, DJ Nick. The fact that we've gone and but we know we had to. We couldn't have brought him in if Pratt had gone. And I'm sorry Pratt went, because I like Pratt, but his options were limited. He didn't want to be a Mendy. He didn't want to just be a squad player or a Marty. And he's a Belgium national player. So don't blame him for wanting to gain time. Good luck to him. I really hope it works out for him. But there was just too many players, I think, after the same position, and he was down the pecking order, so he had to go. But only by him going, wage-wise, could we bring in Lookman. So how annoyed, when you start there thinking, oh, God, it's only Lookman. It is Lookman. It is a player. It is a winger, which is what we've wanted. So, you can't be happy with one thing, not happy with the other. And, he has been at the England under-19s, under-20s and under-21s. He's played for Everton. He's Leipzig. He scored in the Europa League. Let's give him a chance. Let's see what he can bring. Daniel James. Sorry, Andy. Daniel James. Hey, I had an hour's sleep last night. Although said that, come on, Andy. We did have Jukovic on the bench the other day, so I quite expected Madison to go off and Jukovic to come on. But that's how bad Benkovic is in Brendan's eyes. When Brendan goes out and picks a third goalkeeper to sit on the bench over you as a defender, you've got no future at the club. So, Terry makes an excellent point here as well. Thank you, Terry. I gave this transfer window before, because I, as you know, catch it out. If you go to the BBC homepage, by the way, and scroll down a bit, you'll see there's a little bit of a mini blog by myself, because I always write for the BBC on transfer deadline day page. And this year they put it up on the Leicester City BBC homepage. So go and check out what I said. And I would have given this a 10 out of 10. To me, this is one of the best windows we've ever had. And as much as who we bring in, it's who we've not let go. We know we don't have to let players go. We don't have to sell, but we will sell if we made an offer we can't refuse. We didn't want Harry Maguire to go. Couldn't turn down 80 million. Didn't want Chilwell to go. Couldn't turn down 50 million. Kanté was the last player that left when we didn't want them to leave. And that was because it was signed into his contract, which, of course, we've learnt and we don't do now. So the fact that we've actually held on this year, I mean, Tielemans hasn't signed his contract yet. And I'm not going to lie, worries me big style. Come on, Yuri. get signing, get that pen out and sign that contract. But nobody came in for him. Now, what does that say? Tielemans, our best player, not a few months ago, scoring a wonder goal to win us the FA Cup, Belgian international, but nobody came in for him, especially when they know that he hasn't signed a contract. So, let that mull in your head. Nobody came in for Youri Tielemans. Nobody came in for James Maddison. But we've held on to these players, and whether Tielemans signs or not, his contract isn't due to expire, so we have still got him for the season at least. DJ Nick, it's not long ago many of our signings struggled in other sides, and most of them won the Premier League with us. Excellent point again, excellent point. Or Brighton, case in point there, DJ Nick. Or Brighton, he was let go on a free by Aston Villa. And I keep coming back to Demarai Gray. Like I say, who I like Demarai Gray, but he was useless for us, wasn't he? Let's be honest. And it just wasn't working out. And the funny thing was, it just wasn't working out with him and Brendan. Didn't work out with him and Ranieri to a point, because he wasn't picking him week in, week out. Nor with Craig Shakespeare, nor with Puel. He'd come on for the odd game here and there. I love him, and I will always remember the fact that he scored that goal just after the tragedy with the chairman against Cardiff, and I will love him forever for that. And he was never that good for us. He goes, they get a different manager. I got Emilio on, like I say, because to give an unbiased opinion. And that's what he gave us. But let's give him a chance. So, yeah, DJ Nick, he does a good point. David, I'd love to know where your contract talks are now that the window was closed. Yeah, me too. My worry was we'd lose him, but we didn't. And that's the main thing. We haven't lost him. So unless something surprisingly happens in January, which I don't think will, because I think the clubs that were being linked with Youri have filled other positions. But let me know, very quickly before we go, who would you have wanted if we hadn't got Lookman in? Who would you have wanted in that position? Couple of minutes, just add that. Terry, again, good point. They don't come for our players because they know we won't be selling for peanuts. I mean, Maddison, it was the Arsenal fans that were wanting him. Apparently, never even contacted us about him. Odegaard was their best and first option, apparently. JJ, I reckon we'd have signed you on the wing. I tell you what, today I think I might have hip problems, so I think I might have been a bit of a sick note. And seeing the size of me, I tell you what, if you ever want to know who ate all the pies, me, I did. That's why you only see me here upwards, you see, because down below it's where all the pies are stored. Yes. Ronaldo. You see, this is what I'm saying. Realistically, and it makes me laugh, Andy, but obviously, realistically, who are we going to get? Daniel James. Yeah, I would have liked Daniel James. But again, Man United were not impressed. I spoke to a lot of Man United fans. I've been on a lot of Rich Sports, for example. That's a Man United chat I go on. Reese, who was with me the other night, he's a Man United fan. And when I said to them all, what do you think about Daniel James if we come in for him? And they all went without a single person saying the other way. They all went, you can have him. So, you don't know. JJ, I think I just made JJ smile. David, too expensive, but from what I saw, it was Berardi for me. Berardi would have been a great signing, but is it affordable? Like you said there, David, very expensive. Had we not bought Vestergaard, we might have been looking at a completely different scenario because we might have had more money to spend. But did we need Vestergaard? Yes, we did, because we needed that. We haven't got Evans, haven't got Fofana. So I think we've done it right. Hudson-Odoi, we touched on him earlier. JJ, again, Chelsea don't really want to sell him, and he would have been very expensive. Andy Medhurst. I know Ronaldo's gone back to Man United, but I don't think raising Keith Weller from beyond the grave would have been. We might get Gary Lineker back at this rate, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Please, let's give Lookman a chance. If nothing else, give him a chance to see what he can do. If he's rubbish, we will all hold our hands up and say he's rubbish. But he was what we wanted, In Brendan, we trust, with John Rudkin and all the guys and on that deal with that side of it. They've not been doing too bad a job. And for me, this is the best window we've had. I'm 60 and I've seen a lot of windows come and go since it was introduced. No is the answer, Terry. You winding me up now. My little pet hate this week. All day I watched the transfer show on Sky. And then don't start me off again. But no, this has been a fantastic window. It really has. I think since I can remember, since we actually the transfer windows was introduced, this was our best one. This is our main one, because come January, if we hadn't signed Lookman, come January we might have ended up signing somebody worse, because we know January signings are very much knee-jerk reactions to how your season's going signing. So, welcome, Ademola Lookman. You're more than welcome to Leicester. Andrew, I hate you. I met today. It was really, really nice, because those of you that know me know my problems off camera, and I met up with my sister today, which I've not seen. I've not seen her for a long, long time, and it was great to see her. And we both said, she's older than me. We both said, we need those mirrors that you get in the fairgrounds that actually make you look slimmer, but also you look in the mirror, and I look in the mirror every morning thinking, who the bloody hell's broken into my house? Because, I'm a 21-year-old. Who's that old git looking back at me? Joe, good evening, Joe. Catching in at the end there. Lookman so overhated already by Leicester fans. Overrated or hate? I think you mean hated, but might say overrated. Look, like I say, had we not signed him on deadline day, who might we have got? We haven't committed to buying him. Can you imagine how you would be feeling now if we had signed Cengiz Under? We would have another Rashid Gazelle on our hands that we probably would have struggled to sell. We haven't, like with Cengiz Under, we got him on loan. So if he is absolutely shit, he'll go back at the end of the season to Leipzig. However, he might turn out to be really, really good. And in which case, we can sign him because we've got first option on him. Overhated, yep. I thought that's what you meant. David, I agree with you. The window, it was our best. All positions were covered, and we have the depth we lacked last year. Hope we avoid any more injuries, though. You know there's going to get another defender's going to get injured, don't you? You just know it. I had to pick my team. I did a show yesterday for a Dugout Daily TV channel, and they were looking at the transfer windows and our best team after we've made all the signings. And I've got to be honest with you, when Fofana's fit and Vestergaard and Evans are fit, Soyuncu was I couldn't put Soyuncu in the team on his current form. How things change, eh? Guys, thank you very much. England tonight, England all weekend. Who knows? I might do something for England. Then again, I might not. See how I feel. I might have a rest and I might just fall asleep. If not, I'm back next week. Just a little matter of Manchester City. Ooh, yes. Hey, we've beaten them once this season. Should we be worried? I don't know. I've got my MOT in the morning, not mine, the car. So wish me luck for that, guys. And we're going to be back next Wednesday at this rate, and 7:00 for the prediction show. See how we're getting on with just a bit of fun. We predict home win, away win, or draw. Join us at that, say 7:00 next Wednesday. Thanks for joining us, guys. For me, great window. For me, Lookman, yeah, Come on. I hope he proves everybody wrong. I really do. And at the end of the day, come on, when he pulls that blue shirt on or green-blue shirt on, we're all what it says behind me there. We're all winners. And let's get behind him until, give him a chance. Once he pulls that blue of Leicester on, get behind the team. Guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks to Emilio for joining us, giving us insight. Certainly caused a debate, which is what we wanted. I'll see you next week. Enjoy England if you're going to be watching them, or enjoy them if you're not going to be watching them. And I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.